supposed to be, baby. Informants informing that information for me. Important you get a portion of fortune pouring. Confession, fortunately, blessings on now they snoring. You mellow, so focus on scoring. Got you underperforming. I never expect something, never assume nothing. Judging me for my past, but that's why I'm triumphant. I don't demand, I know where I stand like engineer hands. Watch how my life pans. That game plan, show out like a jotter, pop out like a cutter. Telling the kick rock, skipping the course, squares like hopscotch. This gonna be my mood to my beat drop. Putting my boogie shoes in my diddy boots, ain't no stop. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Congratulations on the celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. No congratulations on no celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. Yeah. If having hope is dangerous, call me evil Knievel. You leading on the wrong side, living with peasant needles. So lethal, made Shane Black wanna write a sequel. Cause I snuggle my dream till it's seen as illegal. And I still probably will, cause I can never give up. I got my goals calling me, how could I never pick up? Either we make up or just break up. And the snake hits, get the rake up. Yeah, selfish, I'ma cake up. If I don't shake me to wake up. Let my depression catapult me to succession. Shine a light on my imperfections like a projection. Every struggle a lesson, your issues ain't your oppression. Never got a question, keep pushing me to progression like I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Congratulations on the celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. No congratulations on no celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. Yeah.
Let me clear my throat.
Somebody pass around the offering. Since I'm always preaching on tracks, you feel me? I'm not gonna get paid for it. Sermon of the day. You right where you supposed to be, baby.
Let me clear my throat. Woo! Hey, everybody, how are you? Welcome to Bravo with Sheila. It's a great day here on the East Coast, and we are ready for you tonight. It's been wonderful. The new year is just beginning, and we're keeping forward with everything we need to be doing. Listen, how you doing is what I want to know. How's everything with everybody? Me and my co-host is here tonight. Dawn B is in the house, and we're going to talk about some wonderful things tonight as usual. You know, we always stir it up for you. We always stir it up. We stir that thing up and we give it to you so that you can take it and run with it, right? Moving you from pain to power and from power to victory. That's what we're doing tonight. We're going to talk about something wonderful, as you can see right underneath there, right? You can see what's going on, right? Let's see. I have someone, Auntie Elaine. Oh, you are here. Auntie Elaine is in the building. All right. I am going to be bringing her up in a second. We're going to bring our guests up. We got co-host Dawn B, and we got she's not a guest. She's part of our fixture. She's part of the crew. Elaine is part of the crew. She's etched into what we do. Uh-oh, that was bars right there. Did y'all hear that? Bars. Yes, and yes. And so listen, let's just go ahead and let's just open up this show with our opener for the evening. This is Bravo with Sheila. We are going to chat. Welcome. We are back. And before I go any further, let me bring up these wonderful, wonderful ladies to the platform. First, we have our co-host, Ms. Dawn B. She is in the house. How are you doing?
I am great. I'm wonderful. I am all right and ready to go.
You ready to go? You ready to stir it up?
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
You're ready.
Ready to do it.
And let's bring the rest of our crew up to the platform. We missed her last week. We were missing her, but she's here tonight. Here we have, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Elaine Edwards. Bravo. Come on, just give yourself a bravo. Just give yourself a bravo just because. And you do not need permission. I said it. You don't need permission to give. Everybody should give themselves a bravo. Don't wait for somebody to encourage you. You have to encourage yourself. Don't you agree?
I agree.
Every day.
Every day, because life happens every single day. And I thought I saw out in Yay in the chat. There she is. She's still there. And we have to really try to remember how to pronounce her name. We've been in the YouTube streets trying to say her name correctly. And I think her first name is pronounced Nene. No, I'm screwing it up again. But I know the last name is Nenya. I got to get that first name right. It's such a beautiful name. And, we have to pronounce people's names correctly. You agree?
Agree.
Yes.
Agree.
Agree.
Definitely.
That's right. That's right. So listen, ladies, tonight we're going to have a chat about sink or swim. I don't know about you, but I have been in so many situations in my life where I had to sink or swim. I had to really get it in my head. What you going to do with this thing, Sheila? You going to sink or you going to swim? Because you have to make a decision when you find yourself in a hard place.
True,
Absolutely.
indeed.
So
you can only float but so long.
And you can only what you say?
Said you can only float but for so long.
I'm going to hurt you. You starting already. Elaine, she's starting already. She said, you dropping mics already. She said, you can only float, but so long. Now, see, that'll preach right there. That'll preach. And Nay is saying hello to us. Let me put her up. We got the Bravette in the house. And she's talking to Elaine as well.
Hey there.
She's safe. She said, hey there. So she ain't going to mess her name
Yeah,
up.
I don't believe in messing up.
Those of us that try to get all cute and try to say that pretty name, we just mess it up.
No.
I'm just going to keep practicing and practicing until I get it right. But she knows that I love her.
Right.
She knows that I love her. Yeah. So that hard place, you said you can only float, but so long. Listen, that will preach right there. I'm telling you. And that is so true. Because at that point, while you floating, you got to make a decision. But how many floaters do we have? We have a lot of floaters in the world who just keep floating and they still floating.
I'm sure. I was going to say, I'm sure we got a world full.
Because they won't make the hard decision.
Right.
Say that again, Elaine.
It's hard for them to make a decision, to make a decision. To make a decision that, okay, I've got to make the decision.
That's so true. But you know what? Sink or swim. And then guess what the tagline is? Time and tide wait for no one.
Not a soul.
Absolutely.
Not a soul. And because it's the beginning of the year, I want this show to be for us to remind the people, to remind them that this is the beginning of the year. Get back up, get into it, stay the course. Stay the course. Because as quick as the new year comes in, people they get comfortable in the first week, or they start hearing the doubt in their minds, right? They doubt themselves and whatever they thought or someone gets in their head and says, you can't do this. You won't be that. You tried last year and the year before. You're a procrastinator. See, you gotta get away from the haters and the dream killers. You have to get away from the dream killers. So I wrote a couple of notes that time is the most important aspect that is limited to everyday life. Time. And everything else can be extended. How to spend time in our 24 hours is the main thing we have to constantly be thinking about. It's only 24 hours in a day, and it'll determine if we succeed or we fail based on what we're doing. I mean, it sounds so simple, but it's not simple, because if it's not a mindset, if it's not an intentional on purpose thought, then life is going to happen. In this part of the segment, I want to talk about this time and tide waits for no one. And then I want to segue to some of the things to talk about that is out of our control and some of the things that are in our control, because it's those things that are out of our control that kind of creep up, right?
Mhm,
And it becomes a belief system sometimes, especially if you haven't conquered the thing yet.
Oh my.
If you haven't conquered it yet, and it's something that you've been trying to conquer and you've been trying to do, or you've been trying to attain or trying to get, especially, you know, women, we have these blocks and stoppages inside of us. And like we need to, and you know, we talk about this all the time, but time waits for no one. And I remember, listen, I was thinking about this, and I remember like traveling to all the different beaches that I've gone to in the world, different places I've traveled to, you know, the islands, the beautiful blue water. You know, you can go to, when you're little, you go to the Coney Island, a little dirty water in New York.
Right.
You can,
Thought you doing something.
no matter what type of sea you're looking at, no matter what type of beach you're standing on, the tide comes in, you try to grab that thing, and it's back out again. Not, and another one's coming in, but it's not the same tide. So the timing, everything is attached to the timing of everything. Time moves on. What did I say? Time moves on at its own rate. It's the most limitless resource on earth. In the blink of an eye, time can turn you into a ruler or turn you into homelessness.
Wow. Wow.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's heavy right there.
Time is a free gift from God. I want to know what you think about it. Come on, jump right into it. Let's just chop it up.
Go for it, Burn. I'm gonna let you go first.
Oh, okay. My Wi-Fi keeps freezing, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. But
Okay.
I never, like, Dawn will know this, I don't really delay making decisions. That's my personality.
No.
I just, okay, I got to go this way because this way is not working. And if I get to that place and that's not working, I don't stay there long either. I move on to the next thing. But everyone, I realize, does not have that mindset. And they linger and delay. I think they waste time, so to speak, actually moving into something that God has opened a door for, because they can't even make the decision to go in that direction. I think that is not something that everyone just comes with. Sometimes it just takes a little training, an encouragement to say, just make a decision. I think sometimes too, we get caught up with, well, what is God telling me to do? And while you're waiting on God, you're still missing out, because I really believe that if you make a decision and it's not the right decision, God will nudge you and tell you to go back in the other direction or a whole nother different direction. I just think we just have to get into that place where we, make a decision, and then before we're forced to make a decision.
Yeah, that's good. But have you ever, because you said how you just don't waste time, you just you're a decision maker, you're a shaker and a mover. Have you ever went too quick? Have you ever used time to go too quick because you felt that I'm not doing this, it's taking too long, I have to make a move now? Has it ever worked against you that you didn't wait some of the things that you're talking about?
I can't think of anything at the moment. Probably the area most of us probably jump in too fast is relationships.
Okay, we're gonna park there in a little while. Yeah,
But other than
that's
that, I can't remember a time when I made a decision too fast.
That's good. That seems you're really grounded and sober at mind. Knowing what you want, going after it, and making the decision. Why you two laughing? You two are too much. Y'all know too much of each other's personal business.
I was laughing at her laughing at herself.
Y'all know too much about each other. Go ahead.
And do remember a time, my brother-in-law making a comment that he was watching me maneuver, and he goes, even when you may have made a bad decision, he was like, you don't dwell, you just get up and keep moving and go. And I think I've always just been that way.
And that's good. I mean, I think I have a lot of that in me too, because I don't do well in the middle. I don't do well.
Welcome. Welcome.
I don't do well in the not knowing space. I don't do well when I feel like I'm being like a puppet. I don't function my mental. I can't deal with, it's either gotta let me cry or let me laugh. Hit me hard or make me laugh. I'll get through either side. If you hit me hard, I'll get through it. But if you have me in the middle, and I don't know, I can't work there. A lot of people can, but I can't do middle. I need to know. I need to be able to pick up the pieces or to pick up the flowers, whichever way it's going to go. But don't have me in limbo in the middle. I don't know how to function. Maybe because of the life circumstances that have happened to me caused me to be like that as a young girl, that I had to sink or swim at a young age. When my husband was murdered, I had to sink or swim. I had 2 little girls. So how long could I labor in pain and crying, looking at the 2 little girls and myself? How long could I stay there? It was either what you're going to take yourself out, you're going to delete. I wasn't deleting myself, right? So where do I go? What do I do with that? So there's so many scenarios in our lives that shape and mold us as women that cause us to, that's why I said, when I thought about this, I said, people say, oh, you better sink or swim, and people say like without compassion, but it's true. What are you going to do at a certain point, even with friends that aren't wired like you're wired, and you sit with them, you chat with them, you talk with them, but it's just like a record, a broken record. It comes a time where you have to say, what are you going to do? What do you want to do? You got to make a move, right? So I think it shapes us. What do you think, Dawn B?
Oh my goodness. Well, Bern knows this about me. Pretty much anybody who knows me knows this about me. I am black or white. I do not do well in gray at all. I'm like you, Auntie. I can't handle the middle. Like I need clarity. I need, like, what are we doing? Once you make the decision what we doing, then like I'm good from there. We could work out everything else from there. Yes. But I can't do I'm just not built for gray. I'm not, and Bern and I were kind of talking. We were talking. It's funny, something he said. We were talking earlier today, just in our normal cutting up, and kind of on the topic. I made a comment about something that she and I are kind of endeavoring into together. And I said, I'm thinking of it like this. It's like when I had my son, I got to the point where I was just like, well, I ain't got no choice. I'm just gonna have to have this baby because we're here now. Right. There's no more space to make no decisions. So you have to, the time to make the decision was before I entered into the situation that got me pregnant. Sometimes when you don't make a decision, you have to make a decision before the decision is made for you.
Yes.
The decision was made for me. Like I ain't got no, it's just forward, and we just gonna have to have this baby, which was a blessing. But at the same time, in real life and in different situations, you don't want to discount your options. You don't want to take so much time that you give yourself no other option, but to go this way now. And I think that, when you were talking about the tide, how it comes in and out, and when you miss that moment, even though there's another tide coming in, it's not the same as the one you just missed. We miss so many opportunities.
Oh God, yes.
And you will never know the fullness of the one that you missed, even though the next one might be great, but the first one could have been greater, had we just gone with it, and stop worrying about the unknown. Just ride the wave,
Yeah.
Ride the wave.
Yeah.
I mean,
that fear of the unknown is what I know I've dealt with that, and I've had to work against my temperament. because we all have temperaments, the strengths and the weaknesses, right? The needs and the wants. Like my needs is not your needs is not mine, my wants is different, although we may have the same. I always talk about when I use the temperament profile and I talk about the four temperaments and the differences in them, the extroverts and the introverts, and how each person have different needs and different wants, right? And some of the temperaments, especially the introverted temperaments, they are the temperaments that really hold you back. They cause you to doubt. They cause you to have fear of the unknown. If I haven't been there before, I'm not going down that block. If I haven't been down the block driving, I know I'm going this way and I'm going 8 blocks over here. And the place I'm going to is like right here. It's like right here. Hi, cuz, I see you. So based on how we're wired is also attached to sink or swim. When you have the personality to just whatever, like you have these two extrovert temperaments, the sanguine and the choleric, which is more daring, which will do more, which will, you hurt them, they get over it right away. They're great people, party, they walk in the room, they've arrived. And then you have the extroverts who are more introverted and who speak from the inside, the deepness. And so it'll take sometimes the extrovert longer to make the decision that the extrovert would make, because the extrovert is more daring. They take more chances. The introvert temperaments are very structured. They have to know. They're perfectionists. They want to do the right thing. So you have to really work against yourself in terms of what your temperament is speaking to you in order to turn that weakness into a strength. Right. And so I realized that with men and women, based on how you're wired, is based on how you move or you won't move. But then you got to kick in life experiences, because life experiences will push everything out the way. Like you're saying, like if a situation happens, look, I've been here before. I spent around 5 years over here. This look kind of familiar.
Listen. Jesus.
It's deep. That's sink or swim.
Yes.
Go ahead, Elaine.
I was just gonna say, and sometimes, when you're among your friends, like we're sitting here chatting, and you've been friends for a long time. I have a friend who is a procrastinator. And I never knew that about her. Never. I mean, when it's time to go on a trip, she's the last one to pack. When it's time to, hey, we're going out, she's the last one to get dressed, because she can't make up her mind what she wants to wear, or, if she's even going. I never knew that about her, and we've been friends for years. And so one day I said to her, "What's your issue?"
Are you talking about me?
No.
I'm just playing.
I would have said,
yes, you would have.
But now, once I found that out and I knew that about her, because my mom was the one who picked up on it. She was like, "I never knew that about her." I was like, "Me either, till just now." But
wow.
you once you know that about someone, you kind of give them their space to continue to function like they've been functioning, because you can't change them. True. Just like they can't change how you function.
True.
I never understood what it was that takes people so long to make a decision, especially over simple things. Simple things.
Simple to you. See the difference that we're talking about.
Yeah,
it's simple things, and I had to learn exactly what you're saying. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm gonna let you jump back in, but you just struck something simple to you because it's something you just do.
Right.
And then you're looking like, well, how long is it going to take you? This just one little.
Right. Just put the black shoe on and let's go. Get the black shoe, not just the black one. Just
right. I mean, and then things that, okay, for instance, the same friend was trying to make a decision whether to put her house up for sale and, move, or, she asked everybody in the world what she thought she should do.
Everybody in the world, you're funny.
Yeah. And so someone told her, "You should keep the house because this is the legacy that your mom left behind." And I said, "That's not a legacy. That's a material thing. And your mom was not materialistic." She was about to sell the house before she passed away. But, you have to do, I said to her, you have to do what's best for you and your pockets and your lifestyle. And, stop asking everybody what they think you should do, because they don't live in the house with you. They're not helping you with the house.
Mhm.
Like, we get so caught up with having to make a decision. We haven't learned what's best for us as we get older. And
Yeah.
then sometimes when you finally decide what to do, it's too late.
The tide left. It changed. The
It
tide
rolled in and
changed.
rolled back
It
out,
rolled in
and
and
it
it
didn't take
rolled
you with you
and it,
with it.
Right.
and the
And now you
same
got to
one
make
don't come back. The same tide is not coming back.
right. And what they say, if you stand on the corner long enough, another bus will roll through.
Hmm.
But we don't know what time the bus is coming. We don't know if it's going to be on time. We don't know what kind of people are going to be on the bus. Is the
True.
bus going to be full? Is there going to be you?
Right.
True. No, that's a good point because the sink or swim and the tide situation, like we could apply that to everything in
Mhm.
life. Like,
Yeah.
and that's why I said we were going to talk tonight to remind people, that whatever you said you were going to do and set out to do for the new year, don't miss the boat. Don't let the tide change
Right.
on you. Don't lose
Right.
the grip of what you think you should be doing because tomorrow is not promised and time
Right.
is a jewel and a gift from God, right? And so it's so very very important to just be on. I don't care how old you are, how young you are. If you're young enough to understand time, then you need to be on top of your game because it's a different time. We know what's happening spiritually, right? We know the word of God. We're all believers, right? And so we know the temperament that's in the spirit realm, right? And
Right.
so for us, we have to be so on point. And those that we talk to, everybody is not a believer. So, this platform, we welcome everyone, but such as I have is such as we give, right? And we
Right.
tell people things that we've proven to be right and to know to be true. And one thing we all, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Buddhist, whether you're a believer, time waits for no one. And when the tide leaves, it's almost like when you were talking, Dawn B, I saw surfers on the waves, waiting
Mm-hmm.
for that wave, that
Wait for
one.
that
And
one.
that's not the one. That's not the one. No, no, no,
Right.
no. Especially if it's a competition.
Yeah, they go
They're
for the big
waiting.
one.
They waiting. And nope, that's not it. Then that big one come and everybody's looking like, I ain't touching that. You got that one daring one saying, that's the one, right? They take it and they become the champion, right?
True.
Because they took that big wave. That wave will never, they probably, yes, did you see that wave? I mean, I would never be a surfer, but it's amazing to me how they're out there in the ocean looking for that wave, that tide to
Right.
come in. Right,
Mm-hmm.
upset when they sitting on the beach and there's no tide, there's nothing coming, right? So it's so very important to be able to ride the wave, to ride and talk to you. If you got to talk to yourself, if you got to sit with yourself and convince yourself, like, I can do this. I'm fearful. I failed 3 times. I tried it's 2023 and I still haven't conquered it because of my own self-doubt. What you gonna do today?
But the thing is, when
We
you're
got a
talking about
push.
that wave, that one big one that they're waiting for. The truth of the matter is that wave, that big wave, is coming. Period. It's coming for everybody.
Anyway,
Right. No matter what, there's nothing you can do to avoid it. It is going to be there. It's what you do with it when it gets there. And this is,
mm,
I think, that trusting, and this has been one thing, I kind of say like my mantra or my motto this year, as well as, it began last year, was trust your own voice. Start trusting your own
mm,
voice. It's not the
mm,
outside voices
yeah.
that control or conduct what you do. It's the
Mm-hmm.
inner voice. You're always going to have, no one's ever going to speak 100% positivity and encouragement to you,
True.
but this is where you have to, because everybody doesn't see things the same way that we see them. So you have to trust your own voice. And if you're telling yourself, I ain't gonna be able to catch that wave is too big. And then, someone else is looking at it like you said, like, hey, all right, now that's I'm bigger than the wave,
Yes.
compartmentalize it or break it down. But either way, it's coming. So the choice, whether you're going to ride it, you're going to let
Yeah.
it pass, whether you're going to sink or you're going to swim in
Awesome.
it, is really up to you.
Or you just gonna be a floater.
Oh my, right. Which you still can only do that, but
You
for
get
so long.
long. And now you touched
Eventually,
on
driftwood hits the shore. It's
yes, you touched on a word that is so important to life as time is, which is trust. When trust is broken down, sometimes people believe that if trust is broken down, say like in a relationship, that it doesn't cause it to spill over into your decisions. And that's not true. Because just because you're in a relationship and trust has been tampered with and you've been hurt, it can actually affect your day-to-day life, even if you're not in a relationship. Because trust is a major, major factor to the makeup of how we succeed. How we succeed. Hey, blind guy, his wife, and their life. These are my dear friends on the YouTube streets. I made it. Greetings, everyone. I've been listening to some while driving and stopped to chat now. My temperament has me swimming into every opportunity.
All right.
There we go. Bravo. See,
Go ahead,
you have
surfer.
to. That's sort of the surfer, you know.
He's
But
not
that
floating.
trust
At
thing,
least
that's
he's not floating.
no, ain't nobody floating here. We have floating in this place, not in this
Right.
place. Ain't no floaters over here.
That's
But
right.
some people just float through life. They just get on the floater. You ever seen people go to the pool parties and all they do is where the floater, right? They get their drinks on the floater. They want the
You were in
best floater.
California
They
a
want
long time.
Right.
I've been there too long.
Maybe like kick the floater across the pool. Then you go over.
Listen. They got the floater with the pillows.
I was going to say,
They got
That's
the floater
true.
with
Window.
the table for the drinks, right? And all they do is float.
because they
Get
plan
on-
on staying
Get
there.
on their
They're
backs
trying
and
to be
just stick your
comfortable.
hand in the water.
What's
Yeah.
that song? Float on. Who's
Right.
that? Delta, just float. Just float on. Oh my goodness. I
That is-
tell you.
Never been my story. Ugh.
Oh man, me either. But there's so many of our precious people who are floaters and who don't know where they fit and don't know where they belong. And trust has been broken and they've had a bad time in life. And you know, we all have stories. We all have things that could either sink us or just cause us to swim. And I have had several. And then I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying, because sometimes you labor in that place. It depends on the traumatic thing that you've gone through. But at a certain point, hopefully you have a support mechanism around you to kind of push and shove you or to get you to understand you can't stay here. And a lot of times in my sessions, people talk and I say, okay, and they get to a certain, like maybe in session, because I do short-term counsel. So at 10, I see we almost at session 8 and we still talking about session 2. I'm like, okay, we're going to have to speed this thing up. We're going to have to speed it up because something's not clicking, something's not working, and we got to get you to that point to do something you've never done before. I'm good for saying that. Just do something you've never done before, which will break the ice and cause you to be able to say, oh, because if you don't know you don't know what's there.
Right.
You'll never know. But because of life situations and traumatic situations, especially people that's domestic violence and people who've been abused and misused and molested, those are hard things to break through because you're not just breaking through trust. You can't tell them sink or swim in the second session. They won't come back.
Right. They ain't going to stay through the
For
first
the rest
session.
of their lives. Yeah.
So
It's I have a friend like that who his wife cheated on him and he's stuck. He's very much floating. He's floating, and I have mentioned several times about counseling, but the bad thing I think is when you yourself can't make a decision and you're floating, then you have children and your behavior is passed down to your children. Now children are floating because they haven't learned critical thinking skills or how to get back up and swim. They don't know how to swim because the parent is stuck floating.
Wow.
There's a lot of things that you when you were mentioning your short-term counseling sessions, he came to my mind because I've suggested several times about counseling, and he's like, what's with you in the counseling? I was like, I think you would learn some really good tools there, But
Mhm.
I mean, it affects his ability to be able to make good decisions or just make a decision. Like you said, do something you've never done before, you
Right.
know. Um,
Right. Because trust again. See, when you're married or you're in a relationship, and you start out the gate wonderful, whether you spend 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, of course that is credited with much more bonding together
right.
sometimes. And when something breaches the relationship, and as far as infidelity, that's a hard thing. It's a hard thing. Now, I've known some women that have gone through that and had the ability to go to counseling and forgive their mate because they talked about how they got to that place. Because
Mm,
both parties contribute to the breakup of something, whether it's 50, 40, 70, whatever you want to split it up. It's two people, that mean there's two different situations going on. And so when people don't want to go to counseling, or people feel they don't have a need, because maybe you telling him that would suggest to him, and he would see some of the things that, not saying caused her to do what she did, but for him to look internally to himself, because probably he's going to have another relationship. And just for himself. See, people go to counseling, sometimes they say, oh, I'm going for him. No, you're going for you.
Right.
right.
Stop being
Right.
finger pointing. No, turn that finger on you. You're going for you. Right. And a lot of time, well, I want you to counsel. I had a couple and they needed counseling. I said, well, we need to do single sessions before we. Why? Because I need to hear her and I need to hear him. And then I bring you
Mm,
together, because when two people and you're going through stuff, it hinders the flow of the session because they're scared to say this, or they might not want to say that. And then now you
right.
don't have a successful session. So when you hear different sides, a person is free to speak. And then you can come together and meet at the same place. And it may not ever work out where they walk out and they don't split up. But when someone cheats on you, it's, I don't know, today's world. I spoke to some young people last week, and they were, as a matter of fact, it was my nephew, and he was like, auntie, it don't work like that no more. I was like, well, what are you talking about? He said, auntie, he said, we don't talk commitment. I said, well, you mean you guys don't talk commitment? He said, it's not about commitment right now. I said, so what does that mean? Everybody sleep with everybody and everybody? He said, yeah, nobody don't commit. I was like, so nobody is called my girl. But what do you mean? So they were laughing at me because like, I said, well, I don't know about y'all, but I'm a one-woman girl guy. I ain't never had more than one man at the time, and I ain't never had this one, that one, that one. They was crying, laughing. He was like, they was like, they said it ain't like that no more. Sheila, is not like that no more. Auntie, no. I said, but explain to me what your world is. He's a Gen Z. Yeah, he's a Gen Z. So that means he's that new. That's
20,
before.
20
Yeah,
something year old.
yeah. He's not even. He's in his early 20s, right? So he was telling me about the world of dating and how they speak to each other and they're cool with it.
Mhm.
They're okay with, you're not my man, you're not my girl. They're okay with no commitment. I'm like, what? Wait a minute. So they was like, everything has changed. Everything. I said, no, but what about respect? What about loyalty? What about dependability? What are you talking about?
And what about love?
What
Because
about, they say, oh no, don't talk about no love.
I know, so that's why it makes me believe that they have not been in love or loved someone that deeply yet. Because when you do, the last thing you want is to know that that person is still dating other people while you have these intense feelings for them. I just
the
I
mentality is so
Way
warped.
different.
I don't think love has changed.
But you
some of these
gotta
comments are
define
saying
what love is, because what one person understands as love is different than what another person understands. And it's just levels to it. And I get it, because y'all know my son is 20, he'll be 21 in like 4 months. I raised him with, like, because I'm old school, so I raised him with old school traditional values. And I feel sometimes, when I watch him at a time, I'm confused on how y'all date. Like, what is, like, I don't understand. It's your girlfriend today, and then 2 hours from now
So
she's not. I'm like, I don't know what that means. He's not the type to like be all over the place, so it frustrates him even, because in his heart he looks for that singular, that that honest, that truth, that trying to find that love, but it's just not like that out here. I'm confused by it too. So it creates in him even the trust issues, because he does not feel he can trust himself to someone else. So now he has to become somebody or something that he doesn't really want to, and I think we've all been there. We've all done that, because again, kind of just tying it into the sinking or swimming, he lives in this time, in this culture, in this environment. What choice is he going to have?
And that's good to say. That's a good point.
Yeah. Like you're going to live alone, which is still a choice. It's not a wrong choice, holding on to your values. Or are you going to find your, I don't want to say compromise, but your adjustment in the real world that you live in, so that you can have.
And that's what my nephew said. He said, and his mom jumped in and said, well, he got hurt. I said, oh, there we go.
Oh,
that's it.
Now we get down to the bottom of everything.
Say no more, right? Say no more.
You're talking crap right now. No, wait. In the YouTube feed, I think they say that's cap. I've been to say that. My kids laugh like, Mom, really? Like,
I've never heard of it.
Is that cap? That's cap going?
Idea.
Oh, that's cap.
You're right.
My niece and nephews know I am old school. So when they talk to me like on my level. I will have to ask them, please explain. I don't know what that means.
Let's look at these comments. Blind got his wife there live. You guys, I hope y'all went over and subscribed to their channel. They're on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I think. If not, see, I don't have a moderator or anything else. I'd tell them to drop their link. But anyway, they said right here, each story individually, because together the stories are morphed to adjust to saving face and everything else.
Which defeats the whole purpose of the country.
And I'm telling you, they're clowns over there. Blind guy and his wife and him says at Ine, now I'm singing float on, float on. And my sister Sandra's in the house. Bravo to you, sis. Yeah, so this is something, it's just life. And like, again, we have to stay on track. I'm trying to just remind people, whatever you're deciding to do, don't let the fear of whatever stopped you before, whether it's a person, place, or thing, cause you to just sabotage, because self-sabotage is a whole nother program. You sabotage, and no, you're self-sabotaging because you're afraid to move. So you create scenarios to make it look like this happened, but it's really you behind it, sabotage the whole thing, right? Because you're afraid and fearful. What do you think, Elaine?
I think that is very true. I used to work with this young lady, and she had in New Jersey, she had a great desire to move back to Florida, be in her familiar surroundings with her family. And she said, I can't do it. And I said, why not? That's where you really want to be. Do it now while your daughter is young and she can adjust. And she was like, I would never do that to my daughter. I can't uproot my daughter. And I was like, parents do it every day. I mean, I'm not talking about the parents that move from place to place to place and drag their kids with them, but for a better environment and culture, she finally made the move when her daughter went to college.
When she went to college,
her daughter was 7.
You say
her daughter was in her first year of college.
Yeah.
And I said, you could have been in Florida enjoying the environment. And she talked herself out of it. Every day we talked about her moving to Florida, and she talked herself out of it.
For all those years. Wow. Let's see, Blind guy and his wife. Let me see what they put up. Let me see this comment. Capping is lying. Okay, so if you say we are into single relationships nowadays, then that's cap. Okay. Says Mike.
His kids keep him up.
He said, got it. Noted. That is something. It took her that long, but listen, that's what we say, people that are floaters or sink or swim. And that's why it's good to be around a good safety net of people and a good village, a good tribe to help those of us, or those of us in the group that we know are different from ourselves, and we don't push and shove, but we kind of help them see the other side and coach them along so they can actually feel comfortable to make moves, right? Because when the tide leaves, it leaves, and there's so many things that hinder us and stop us from moving. Time and tide wait for no one. Simple as that. And we just think, oh, we got time. I got time. Another thing that I bring this up because I've done maybe around 7 funerals I officiated in the last year, like back to back to back to back. Like, wait, God, wait, because it's a lot. I'm graced to do it, but it's emotional and it weighs on you. And when it's like you don't have a breather, and 3 or 4 out of the funerals that I did, no one had insurance. But yet they were living large, like just living, doing things like, I'm not, no pun intended, but we're talking about time, not waiting. And when the tide leaves, it leaves. And when you don't put certain things in place, right? And if you don't have the things to put in place and you don't speak to people to help you put it in place, then what happens is the whole drama of the whole, the weight of it falls on your children or your family. And then they start bickering. I've seen so much bickering. I was like this. I was like, Lord Jesus, please hurry up, get me out of here. Like, it was just a lot. One of them, in fact, I had to go all the way to North Carolina, a couple of times.
Me.
Say it again.
You didn't visit me.
I sure didn't.
She didn't know you.
Shame on me. What part of North Carolina do you live in?
I'm in Durham.
I was right there. Aww. The next time, my daughter's there, so I'll come see you. A lot of my family's there. Okay. But what I'm saying is, like, time, when we keep talking about the tide leaving, and when time, the things that we don't put in place that we know is coming.
Yeah.
Or, we just don't know. Tomorrow's not promised to us, right? And so I was sharing with them in a nice way, privately, that, we have to do better as a people. If you don't have a lot of money, it don't cost so much money to just get a little policy or something, because then it becomes weight on the family. Circumstances happen. I do understand that. But these are things as a people we need to pull up on. As our culture, we need to pull up on certain things that we just let the tide leave and then we're stuck. Mm-hmm. So this spills over into our lives. So let's briefly talk about relationship. With the tide and the tide and the tide going in and the tide coming out. Look at Elaine's face. We don't have to park here too long. But listen.
I could write a book, but
write it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew Dawn would say that. Go ahead and write it.
Go ahead and write it. Yeah, I'll say go ahead and write it. Somebody else will benefit.
That's what my cousin said the other day. Mm-hmm. But I think that is an example of me jumping in right on the tide at the highest point, thinking I'm going to ride it out and it's going to be forever. And then the tide recedes and leaves me stranded on the sand on my back.
Not on your back.
On your back. She's messed up.
Once
just the posture and everything.
You cannot get up. The sand will just suck you right in. I will say that that's an example of, me not making a great decision. But I don't regret any of the decisions because it taught me going forward what not to look for, what not to do.
Yeah.
But then you see, I see so many of the young people who just jump in, I like him. I met him. I gave him all my information. I'm like, what is wrong with you? We don't do that now. But, it'll work for them, but it didn't work for me. So that was their tie,
Yeah. But I get that.
I think that relationships, when we jump right in and swim and ride it out, eventually you will decide whether you can keep riding it or if you've got to get off the boat.
Yeah, and I also think depending on what age you are, you might have to speed that thing up because if you hold on a second, let me put this comment up. Wait, I'm sorry, did I say that? Anyway, hold on. Wait a minute.
I love it.
Blind got his wife in their lives. Sadly, some of us don't know that we're sinking because we don't realize we should have things in place. Correct. It wasn't until I got married at 25 that I realized we needed insurance. Amen.
Mhm.
Amen. Facts. True. That's why it takes us
Yeah.
today to teach and to really, give the young
Right.
people these nuggets and everything. But yeah, as you were saying, listen. Come on now, look.
You need a speedboat, Sheila.
I'm not mad at him. I think you're channeling mommy tonight in her absence.
No.
Wait a minute. You said I need a speedboat. Listen.
Jet ski.
You're
You
not
want
doing
the
the
boat, give it a jet ski.
roll your boat down the street.
not doing
We
that.
ain't
We're not
doing the
doing
merrily. No. That was like for me. I could have merrily around 30 years ago and still would have been like speeded up a little bit. But today,
You ain't got no
today
time for the slow
I
song.
agree.
You ain't got no time for the slow song now.
I agree.
no, because time is precious, and again, you cannot get it back. And when you get older, like my age, you see things through a different lens. Everything is different today. And I don't know how I got to this place. I don't know how I got here so fast.
But even, I know I say this with my girlfriend all the time. When you're in your 20s, you have an idea of, well, you may or may not have an idea of what it is that you want. Then when you get to your 30s, you do start to think about settling down. You start wanting to have a family if you don't already have one. Then when you get to your 40s and up, you should want, well, I'm gonna say 40s was a whole different time period for me. But 50s and up, you should not want the same things that you wanted in your 20s and your
Correct.
30s, because you've already experienced more than half your life for some of us, right?
Correct.
So you should be willing to swim a little bit.
For sure. Like my brother says, Sheila, I tell you, he gets on the phone with me, and if he wasn't in North Carolina, I would hit him in his head. My younger brother, I only have one brother. My sister passed. It was just the three of us. My brother said, well, sis. I said, don't say it. Brother, don't say it. Well, sis, there's more time behind us than in front of us. I'm like, okay, so you had to end the conversation with that. So you had to just say that. But it's it's like a smack, it's a reality check.
Yes.
It's like, don't be sleeping.
Right.
Like don't be sleeping. Whatever you're trying to do, whatever you wanted to do, whatever's on that so-called bucket list, whatever it is, don't let nobody rob your time. Don't let nobody take your time. Don't let nobody take your peace. No, you ain't taking my peace. You're not taking my joy. You're not doing that to me, because that's what keeps me going. The joy of the Lord definitely is my strength, right? So wait, blind guy, wait. Okay, so he got jokes. They got jokes. No cruises. Got the speedboat revved up, huh? Yeah. No cruises. No, you take too many stops on the cruise. You're gonna stop at this port and that port, and then no, you got to get off and do stuff and come in. No cruises, blind guy, his wife.
So sightsee later. Sightseeing tour.
We do that later. Exactly. But time is precious. Time is really precious, and there's some things that really, really take away from our time and people's time, and we focus on the wrong things. And I'm trying to keep my focus and stay on the right things. And what's not for me is not for me, right? And don't get caught up in it. To keep my mental good, keep my spirit right. And just sail on, just sail. I'm only start singing, and I was like,
we gonna back around with you. We do it all the time.
I'm laughing because I don't think there's ever a time that Dawn and I have a conversation and one of us, every other word, we're starting to sing.
Really?
Just one word, we'll find a song for it.
That's good. That's awesome. You guys are great friends. So before we close this show, there are a few things I want to touch on. that causes us to get stuck, or causes us not to sink or swim, or causes us to go through all of this stuff in our head. Sometimes it's overwhelming, and it's easy just to take things off your plate, take things off your mind, and let God do what he needs to do for you and with you, you just don't sit back. Some believers, they get all caught up in the bubble. Well, he gonna do what if you don't do what? What are you gonna do? What you doing?
That's a whole conference right there. Don't
okay, it's a conference. All right. I won't go.
I'm writing that down right there.
Write it down so we can go there. So out of control. These are some of the things that a lot of people, women and men, the actions of others, right? This is the out of control area. When you're out of control and when you allow this type of stuff to seep in, the outcome of my efforts. These are things that you don't have control if you're not doing the right things. Listen, the past, that's a biggie. That's a biggie. The past, living in the past, looking in the rear view mirror, thinking something's going to look different. And it's not going to look different. It is what it is. It can't be undone. So it's done. But a lot of times based, again, on what you've gone through. And I don't know, excuses are okay for a set time because what happened is legit. It's legit. But if nothing changes.
Nothing changes.
That's my t-shirt. That's my motto. That's my life. That's the words that set me free some years ago. And I know this sounds simple, but it's powerful. When nothing changes, nothing changes. In relationships, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Why? Because somebody has to humble themselves.
Right.
It's not about being right. Look, if we're gonna get a change, then okay, take the bullet. You should take the hit, even though it's not your fault. Because it has to be a change somewhere. Okay. So another thing out of my control, the opinions of others. I am powerless over what you think about me. I am powerless over what you say about me. It's none of my business what you think about me.
Right.
But again, we allow that kind of stuff because we do like our friends and our families to celebrate us and to root us on, and their opinion does matter to a certain degree. How others take care of themselves, out of my control. Out of my control. That's where the codependency kicks in, where you try to fix everything. You're the fixer. Because you could help them because they're a good person. They got qualities. They're smart. But let me go over there and fix them and help them. So you lay everything down of yourself because you're capable. But that person doesn't grow.
Right.
They become a crutch.
Oh, Jesus.
What other people think of me. I went through that for a minute.
Yeah.
I went through that for a minute, not knowing that it mattered until I hit a storm and heard the chatter about me. I didn't know it meant that much to me because everybody was, Sheila, Sheila. Then I hit a major storm in my life. And everybody, I ain't gonna say everybody, that's an irrational statement, but majority of people jumped ship on, Sheila, they were gone in the wind. And then it became chatter and persecution and slander. Then I realized, oh my God, the same, Sheila. Now I was this tainted person that they created. No one ever knew the real narrative, but they created their own. And that's when I realized that it does matter how your peers and your friends and people think of you or what they say about you, right? But then I also had to learn how much weight to give to it.
Right.
That was the lesson in that. It mattered, but how much sink or swim? You gonna sink with what's going on? Because I was going down because it was heavy. And then I realized, let me get back and stroke. So that matters, right? These things, we go through different things with ourselves. Sometimes people don't talk about it because they're private people. I wrote my book, so, it's out there. So I don't have any, and I believe that it's going to help someone else by exposing myself. And you can't expose yourself until you're free. Right. Until you're free. You ever been in church, they say, well, come on up here and give your testimony. You be like, Now with these,
No, the
now with
goal-
these, now with these heathen saints in here, so they can rip me to pieces. You be like, Pastor, come on up here, tell her. You told me to tell him. Come on, let's celebrate Jesus. Come on, tell your testimony. You be like, because you know, because it's not in a safe place.
Right.
Right.
Just because it's church doesn't mean it's safe.
No, in your own church, it ain't safe. Now I had a big testimony. I had to go to Amsterdam to say that one testimony.
In a safe place.
Talk about a safe place.
Where they spoke Dutch. So I had a translator.
It was real safe. It was secure there for sure.
Had no idea I was going to speak about that. And so the Lord was like, tell him. I was like, what? I could feel it in my spirit. Tell him what happened. And I'm like, oh, no, this can't be happening. And I was like, and the whole service switched because I got up and I said, I've never said this to anybody ever. But they appreciated the honesty. I felt safe.
Yeah.
They appreciated. They didn't go, ooh, like New Yorkers and the U.S. people. There's like,
It was probably more for you.
Ran into the ladies' room with the cell phone. Girl, Sheila got up there and told that testimony, and she was talking about. I didn't even get out the pulpit or out the church.
They texting it while you talking. What you say? What you say?
So
you know that's true.
It's so true. I'm telling you, we have to just stop being so selfish and be selfless and help people instead of being dream killers and destroying folks. So in my control, we have our thoughts and our actions. What I give my energy to is what I have control over. How I speak to myself when I say I'm sorry to myself. I'm sorry I allowed someone to do that to you, self. I'm sorry I did that to you, self. Forget about saying, I forgive me to other people. Forgive yourself.
Right.
And say sorry to the damage you brought to yourself, right?
Yeah.
The goal I set. I have goals that I set. Sink or swim. I'm not sinking. I'm continuing to swim and ride those tides, whether I'm alone or not. I'm not going to be caught up in the fact because I'm single, I'm not going to achieve my goals. So you set your goals. You set your goals. How I spend my free time is how I spend my free time. Some people work, and never have a free moment. A lot of times in counseling, I'll ask them, well, you work so much, what's your hobby? They go like this, They don't even know their hobby. They don't know what they like to do outside of work, family, children, marriage. They don't know. They've lost that. Okay, so what did you used to like to do? Oh, well, I used to such and such and such and such and such. But what happened? Right? So these are things you have control over, right? How I handle my challenges is a big one. I have control over how I handle my challenges as long as I'm handling them. As long as you're handling the challenges, because challenges are not going anywhere.
No, ma'am.
And the last one is my boundaries. Now, that's a huge one. There was a time I had no boundaries because I was, okay, I'll help you. Okay, I'll sing for you. Okay, you need, you got that in you. Let me help you develop that. And the person's sitting there like, no. And then the boundaries is muddy, right? Because then people have liberties. I mean, have you gone through that before?
Yeah. A whole lot of it. All of it.
Absolutely. Blind guy and his wife. Let's see. Been there and learned to encourage myself with my testimony rather than feed the wolves. Amen and amen. I'd be stroking. Y'all need to come over to their show. They're a mess. They are funny. A lot of information on their channel. Blind Guy, his wife, their life. I'm telling you, you will love their platform. Well, it's been awesome here. I want to give you the last word. You know, we always leave before we leave Tuesday. Oh my God, Tuesday. So excited about Tuesday's show. We're going to have men on the platform, women on the platform. And the title of the show for Tuesday is My Backbone. Ooh, I can't wait. I want to hear. I want to hear the men and the women. I want to hear what it is, what it means to you. You said, my woman, my wife is my backbone. My woman, my wife is. Everyone feels that we're backbones to each other, but what does that look like for you? It's different for each person, like what it means, being somebody's backbone. Some people could be very rigid and that's it, and that's what I say. And some people can be flexible but firm, So I can't wait. We're gonna have Sir Hale on the platform.
All right.
We're gonna have C. Reggie Rogers, our relationship coach that comes on our platform.
Dude.
We're gonna have my godson, Dr. Sherrod Tomlinson, on the platform. And there's another gentleman on the platform. And of course, Elaine Edwards the crew will be on the platform. Dawn B will be in the house. I'll be in the house, and I'm probably going to have a couple of more women. You might want to invite a couple of your friends or whatever. I want to hear the different views about this, because in the YouTube streets, all you hear is about women this and wives this and modern day women and women ain't nothing, and we're going we're going to get the passports to go to the border, and the women got the passports now and the men got the passports because they can't find a good wife in the US. And some of that may be true, but it's a lot of stuff going on in these YouTube streets about relationships, what is good, what is not, what should be, what shouldn't be, and everyone has their own viewpoint on their lives, right? And so we want to hear about what my backbone is and what it means. So this has been awesome. So Elaine, give us the last words to the people. Give them a word of encouragement. Dawn B, you give your last words after Elaine.
So I would say in the sink or swim, and time and tide, wait for no one. I would say anything that you desire, that you want to do, anything you can dream of, anything that your heart has a passion for, to just do it. And if it doesn't work, don't give up the dream. Just find a different way to make it happen, because it may not come that way again, but just do it. And along the way, you will be surprised at the people who you don't know yet that will come into your life and help you on your way, give you good tips, give you good information, pray for you if they can't physically do. Just don't wait. Swim, don't sink. Just keep swimming. Just keep stroking. Don't let the water take you down.
Yeah. Like Blind Guy and his wife said, I be stroking.
Exactly.
Lady Dawn.
Well, I would wrap it up and just say, choose to swim. Choose to swim. I made a very hard shift, major decision in my life recently. And I'm glad that I did. I'm glad I chose to swim, because I was floating for quite a minute. And I have no regret. Listen, choose to swim. Kick fear to the side. Let fear do what it does, but you go do what you need to do. I mean, what's the worst thing that's going to happen by you choosing to swim?
Right.
The worst thing that's going to happen is nothing.
Right.
But at least you're moving.
Mm-hmm.
And even if things don't go the way you think that they should, don't not swim because you're afraid you're going to fail. Because as long as you're moving, I don't believe that there's anything, that there is a failure. As long as you're moving. It's called experience now. Because you're doing something that you didn't do before, and you're learning how to do it. So you just keep doing it until you get it 100% the way that you want it to be. But don't float, don't sink. If you have a choice, choose to swim, choose life, always choose life. We're only here for a limited time. Make the most of your day. You don't have to be unhappy. You don't have to settle. Just swim. Just swim. Just go for it. Go in the deep. Put on your two-piece and go in the deep.
The two-piece and go in the deep.
I'm not gonna put on 2-piece. Y'all ain't ready for that. But y'all put on the 2-piece and go in the deep. I'll meet you in the deep though, but I'm gonna have a.
I'll tell you that's cool. It's so crazy. So crazy. Well said. Well said. Well said. Put this comment up. The blind guy, his wife says, agreed, Elaine. Just do it. No excuses. Amen. That's right. Amen. And I want to say to you, to feed your faith and starve your doubt. Right. Mm-hmm. And like Dawn B says, what's the worst that could happen? And the question I ask a lot of people when they're going through a rough time and they're afraid to move is, well, if you move, or if whatever you're going through, is it a catastrophe? If it's not a catastrophe, you could do it. You could make it.
Yeah.
Stop, giving it more fuel than it should get. Just make a move. So, what I say, when nothing changes, nothing changes. Thank you so much, crew. Thank you so much for being here once again. Bravo to you and bravo to all of you out there. If you haven't given yourself a bravo, give yourself a bravo. Just because. And you don't need permission. That's right. Just pat yourself. Bravo. I'm telling you, give yourself a bravo. Stay tuned for more of Bravo with Sheila. Don't forget, cross that YouTube street over there to Sheila Ingram Ministry broadcast. We come on, I think, 1:00 on Wednesdays. We've been having a good time. 2 more sessions before we close out the Incubator series, which is a series that is talking to your soul and your spirit. So go on over there and subscribe. We're trying to build that channel as well as this channel. But we thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. Blind guy, his wife, their life. I'll see you in the morning. I think you're on in the morning at 11:15. And so I'm just excited. Who else is in the house? Thank you for my cousin being here. And thank you so much. Janice, and those of you that are hiding in the background, those of you that are hiding in the background and won't come in the chat, that's all right. I love you. And stay tuned for more of Bravo with Sheila. Ladies, don't move. We're going to end this show. Should we end it with well, wait a minute. Did you guys do this? I hope you did. I hope you did do that. And I think we're going to end with a soft close. Let's end with a soft.